Hey everyone, what's up? This is Dr. Charlie Johnson, PT. Hope you are doing well wherever you are. Beautiful day out today. I wanted to share with you a coaching call that I had with a member of my private coaching program, the Glute Relief Accelerator Program. This guy's name is David, super sharp guy, very intuitive and just willing to put in the work to get back to what he wants to get back to. David had tried pretty much everything before we had started working with him. He's been dealing with pain for like the last 6 months in his legs, some in his arms, right? Just some funky symptoms. And he's seen, multiple neurologists, multiple orthopedic docs, multiple PTs, chiros, went to the rheumatologist, had brain scans, and nobody can really figure out what the heck was going on. And so we were able to crack the code for him, crack the case, right, and help him out. And so in this video, I want to share with you some of the nuggets that came from the conversation. It's a live conversation. You'll be able to see me interacting with him as I do with so many other people across the world with these issues. And specifically, I want to share with you, I would say 5 big nuggets or things to expect. So before I share them, this video is going to be perfect for you if you are stuck in a cycle of pain, fear, and avoidance. So hey, I feel like I'm getting there, Charlie, but every time I go to do something, man, I have this setback, I have this flare-up, and I go back to sort of retreating. I rest, and I try to get back to it. Hurts, I rest, I retreat, right? And you're stuck in trying to figure out how to get back to living a life, all right? So that being said, the 5 things you're gonna get from this video and some big nuggets that I want you to take away. Number 1, the importance and the value of living in action. Sometimes the fixing is in the doing. We have a tendency when we're in pain to get stuck in research mode. It's so easy. You can go on Google, right? You can ask your friends, you can ask your family members, things like that. But at the end of the day, research will only get you so far. Information is great, but transformation is better. And the way you do that is you live in action. And living in action gives you valuable feedback and data. There is no such thing as failure. There is only feedback. That's the first thing, okay? The second thing that we're going to talk about is where rest fits into this. Should you rest? Should you not rest? Rest, in David's case, will actually make him worse, and it may be making you worse as well. The third thing is how to safely and strategically get back to things that you love. So David wants to get back to running. David wants to get back to playing ice hockey. But maybe you want to get back to something else. Whatever it is, you can apply this strategy to slowly and progressively getting back to life in a way that works, okay? Next, what we're going to share with you is what I call the cycle of self-sabotage, all right? And it's this idea that, there are certain things that we tell ourselves, or maybe there's things that you tell yourself, right, that actually keep you stuck in pain. What are those things and how do we break free from it? And the fifth and final thing I want you to get out of this is, what do you do when life throws you a test? Meaning, you're doing well, you feel like you're on your way out, and then bam, pain comes back, maybe worse than before, and or symptoms shift around, they move around, and you're like, what the heck is going on? Throws you back into a place of doubt, challenges your conviction in the process, and makes you wonder if you're ever going to be able to really solve it. And so what do you do? What do you do when life throws you a test? How do you act? And how do you get out of that? How do you deal with it? How do you see it as an opportunity for growth versus one of sort of frustration and concern? All right, so let's dive right into this. By the way, if you are trying to figure out the ultimate source of your symptoms, this is where we started with David. Be sure to check out my DIY diagnostic guide. There should be a link above. My whole entire diagnostic algorithm for figuring out the source of your symptoms, mind and your body and everything within that, all right? Check it out. Let me know your thoughts. All right, here's David.
Yep. I skated last week for the first time in 5 months.
Cool.
Open hockey with my son skating around.
Yep.
And the leg pain was just moving around, but nothing really hurt like the last time I skated 5 months ago, which was awesome.
Cool. Good for you.
My lower back to start. And then I was skating 15 minutes, didn't feel a thing. And I stopped to talk to someone. I started to feel in the hamstrings. And afterwards, and the day after, it didn't hurt or feel worse, which was always my fear in the past.
Yep, good.
I did have a tingle go down my left arm when I was shooting the puck once.
Yep.
And tingling every other day on and off since then. But like that wasn't on my mind when I was skating. Like, how are my hands?
Yeah.
But months ago, my hands or my arms hurt skating when I would shoot the puck. But just worth noting. And then I went for a run the other day, first time in 5 months.
Cool.
And just the hamstrings hurt the entire time.
Okay.
Really the right one. And I think the right because the MRI showed that there was a possible pinch there.
Okay.
It really wasn't, just said possible. Maybe stuck in my head. That's why I think the right leg hurts more.
Yep, possibly. Yep.
So after that run, the right leg hurt a little bit, but later that night it didn't.
Cool.
Fine. And then the next morning, right leg felt a little stiff again.
Did you go for another run?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like a weird tight pain feeling. And like I want to stretch it, but it feels worse.
Yeah, I get it. Well, it feels worse probably because you're feeling it with attention. So that's the difference, right? So, I mean, you know, when you consider both the brain and the body, or the mind and the body, if you will, as it relates to like the pain experience, if you're doing something with the intent of getting rid of something and there's a mind component to it, then you're just fueling it with negative vibes, for lack of a better word. Right? Because you're like doing it with the intent of like, hey, you thing, go away. But there's actually nothing to go away. That's what's interesting, right? And so it's like, I have this tightness, which is just a danger signal, or perceived tightness, whatever you want to call it, right? And so like you're trying to fix something, right? But there's really nothing to fix. You're just, you're fueling it with fear of like, you wouldn't be stretching it if you, like, I don't stretch things just for fun. You know what I mean? Usually I stretch something if I feel tight, or if I feel like, whatever. And so if it's truly a mind-based type of symptom driver, then you're going to fuel it because you're going to be doing it with the intent of getting rid of it. And that what you're trying to get rid of, you just reinforce as something that's bad and therefore like needs to get rid of. Otherwise you wouldn't be stretching it because it wouldn't need to be gotten rid of.
Yeah.
Right. I know it's weird. It's a little bit like deep, but does that make sense?
Yeah. So the instinct was to stretch it, but then what you just said, I remember, like, so I didn't stretch it. There's no point of stretching it.
Cool. Yeah.
And I played golf yesterday, probably for like the fourth time since I started this program.
Mm-hmm.
And that 4 hours is the only time I don't feel a thing.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Because I'm so laser focused on hitting that stupid little white golf ball. Like every once in a while I'll check in, I'm like, holy crap, I don't feel a thing. Like when I walk my son to school every day, I feel calf pain. I walked for 4 hours yesterday, didn't feel a thing.
Yeah.
So I struggle remembering all those things. Like I always trying to focus on the negative. Like I have to remember, like it's not real pain. Remember when you played golf, you didn't feel a thing.
Well, and here's the thing: it is real. You're feeling it, but it's not due to damage.
Yeah.
So that's where like this is where it's like you live and you learn a little bit. So people want to come into the program, they want to have all the answers right away, right? But like it's actually a little bit of like choose your own adventure, because like each time you have an experience where you golf, maybe the first time you golfed and you were like, and it was a little clue, but then what happens? You're like, yeah, but I don't know. It was something about that day. I didn't stress it that hard. We didn't play as many holes, right? So you get magnetized back to the structure, right? And so you're like still fighting it. But then as you have more and more clues where you're like, yeah, it was kind of weird. Like it was just moving around. It didn't really hurt. And like, actually, like I had no pain because I was focused on the ball. But then when I'm not focused on the ball, like, and I'm walking in the grass, it comes back. So what's up with that, right? Then as you start to learn more, you start to educate yourself and do some self-study, and then like you live in action and you get these experiences that kind of like, come after you. We call them aha moments, if you will, right? Then you start to say, okay, it's getting funky. And the more you can say it's getting funky, and like I'm starting to believe in this thing, right? Not out of just like thin air. I'm not asking you to believe out of nothing. Like if you look at the science and you look at the evidence and you do the investigation, you do your homework, and everything lines up with it, right? You'll start to see that you'll resist it less. As you resist it less, that which you resist persists. So as you resist it less, you'll start to notice, okay, wow, like it's actually kind of cool. Instead of it being like, yeah, but, and using it as something to fight, right, against the whole process, you'll be like, no, that's actually in support of. Right. And so like the reason I asked you is like, hey, did you go for another run again? Because I would have. I would just stay at that same pace. You don't have to do more. Okay. It's fine if you feel your hamstring, as long as it's tolerable. If you're telling me, dude, the hamstrings were killing me, then I'm going to say I don't love that. But if there's a 0 to 10 scale and you're like at a 3 out of 10, 4, and you're like, I don't love it, but it's tolerable. It's not like freaking me out. Mm-hmm. Right. Then I'd say that's awesome. Just like keep showing up to it.
Okay.
Just you don't have to back down from that. What happens is people start, it's kind of an interesting thing. They almost self-sabotage themselves. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, but it's not a good one. So here's what people do, David. They want to go running or skating or insert any activity you want to get back to. Well, that activity coming into the program, you're fearful of, right? Otherwise, like you wouldn't need my help to get back to it, right? Or fearful, whatever, frustrated you can't do, worried about, anxious about, insert whatever you want, okay? And so what you tell yourself oftentimes before you go into that activity is like, oh, I hope this isn't too bad. The very fact that you have to tell yourself, oh, this isn't too bad, means that Well, it's not too good, and therefore it's bad. Right? Meaning, like, you know, if you're gonna like get in the shower today, right? Are you gonna be like, I hope this shower isn't too bad? Your wife and your kids would be like, what the heck is wrong with you? What do you mean shower's bad? Like, just get a shower.
Yeah.
Right? And so because there's nothing attached to it, right? There's no fear, there's no worry, there's no whatever attached to it, right? But the stakes are high because you want to get back to life. And that's why people reach out to me, because they want to get back to life, because they really need to get back to that thing. But then they're fearful of doing that thing because they've got to like cross this chasm and jump over to like, okay, I couldn't do that, but how am I going to get back to that? And so they start by planting seeds in their conscious mind. This is the area of the mind that has a choice about what the heck wants to happen. It's a thinking mind, if you will, right? And it's like, I hope this isn't too bad. Oh no, like, is this, I wonder if I'm going to feel this later. This is what you're saying as you're running. Right? Yeah. And so you say all these things, and then that which is expressed consciously, okay, or impressed consciously to subconscious mind has to express itself. And then you have a self-fulfilling prophecy, because what happens later, a lot of times people be like, see, now I'm worse. And then they retreat from that thing, because that thing proves that which they were fearful of, they should be fearful of. See, running is bad. You did this early in the program.
Yeah.
See, can't run. See, can't skate. Skating is bad. And then you retreat, and then you go back into fear avoidance.
Yeah.
And then it just wins. The mind wins all the time. And so don't let the mind win is what I'm saying when it comes to running. You feel some symptoms. They're tolerable. You have all the evidence to believe, right, that the mind is driving a lot of these symptoms, because we've gone through evidence listening. You've had lots of aha moments as you've gone through the process. Okay. Sometimes symptoms that you're experiencing are structural, meaning like some people with similar cases, their symptoms might be structural. Yours has no evidence for that.
Yeah.
Right. And so with that conviction and with that belief, as you buy more into that process, you don't have to back down from the signals that you're experiencing, because they're not consistent with and or indicative of physical damage.
Yeah. Okay.
So
But
when does that make sense?
yeah, but at the same time, I think I remember in your program, you want to get back into it slowly. Like, don't run for 5 miles. You used to run for 5 miles, right? But
Correct. Yeah. Graded exposure.
that's
absolutely.
It. Okay.
Graded exposure. Yep. You want to build it up over time, right? And so still respecting, right? So what I'm not telling you, I just want to be clear for anybody to call, is I'm not telling you like, hey, screw it. So you're telling me, Charlie, like if I just feel pain, like tell myself I don't feel it. And even if it's a 9 out of 10 and I'm in terrible pain, no, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Regardless of the source, that's going to freak you out. It's either going to truly damage something, break something, right? If it's structural, and or if more, again, of mind origin, if you will, right? It's going to freak you the heck out.
Yeah.
It's going to we call it re-traumatization. All right. You're going to throw up over the edge of the cliff, and you're going to be scared, you know what, and you're going to have to go back in your home and lay down and cover yourself up.
So for hockey, for example, I should continue to do a few open public skates, not go straight into a game again, next week.
Yeah, I would say, hey man, take where you're at right now, the level of skating roughly that you're able to do, the level of running. You just pick a couple of these things, right? Golfing apparently is cool. So you like focusing on little white ball. All right. So do that. All right. But as far as running and skating, there's more energy behind that, if you will. There's more resistance behind those two activities. Fair. So what I would do is I'd say, hey, stay at that same level. Maybe it's what? I don't know. Did you say 5 minutes or 5 miles? I can't remember how far you ran.
I only ran a mile, but I used to do 5.
Okay. You used to 5. Okay. Sorry. Okay. So stay at that mile.
Okay.
Now here's the thing. You might be like, oh, well, next time, just stay at the mile, man. Right? Because the worst number in a study is an N of 1. Like if you have one person in a study and you get results from that study, it's like, yeah, like, hey, we did this COVID shot, right? And it worked on one person. So let's just roll it out to everybody. I'll keep the politics out of it, so I just won't talk about that more. Okay. But the idea is like, if there's an N of 5,000, if there's an N of 15,000, if there's an N of 500,000, you start to, as that study kind of population or the number of studies that you run grows and you see the results, you can feel more confident in it. So what I always recommend is like a double check, if you will. So if you go and you run 1 mile and it's like, okay, make sure before you go up again, because it could have been a fluke. That's the thing with one. Okay. Sometimes people skate and they're like, see, dude, I skated a whole game. I'm good. And the next time they skate 2 games, you could have gotten lucky for whatever reason. Yeah. Could have been there was a beautiful wife in the crowd and you were feeling happy you're good or whatever. Could have been you scored a goal. Could have been you won for some reason. Could have been your best friend was there. I don't know. But make sure that you can reproduce that activity, right, at least a couple times in a row before you say, I'm going to bump it up to the next level.
Okay.
Is that clear? So like 1 mile, woohoo, build confidence. Another mile, maybe the next day or 2 days later, woohoo, build confidence. If you want to do it a third time, just like make sure, right, that you're like, yep, safe, good, good, good. Check the boxes at least a couple times. Same with skating.
Okay.
And so it's like, instead of it being like step, 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 right? It'd be like step, and then like, do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that's what I would do. You're going to get there, dude. You're on the right path. And now it's putting in reps. It's growing the number, if you will, the N of studies and the results so that you can build more confidence. Because now it's really a confidence thing. So now what will happen is you'll build more confidence. Wow, I did that. I was good. See? I can believe this. This is right, right? And then you'll have it again. You'll have it again. You'll feel, and then what'll happen is this: every time you think you know what's happening, you think you know what you're doing, life sends you test. You know what test is? Hey man, I'm gonna make you have a bad skate.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make it hurt a little bit more than usual when you're running. And then here's what'll happen: David will go back to like, well, like maybe there's that pinch there. Maybe they saw some. And I've even had people be like, I got to go get an MRI. They just go, it's like, it took all that work. And then they just like get sucked back into the vortex.
Yeah.
Right. Fear, worry, whatever. And then it just like erases it. Now, here's the cool thing. Because you've gotten there, you can get there again. So it's not all for loss, but like it might happen. I'm not wishing it upon you, but it might happen where you have a bit of a setback, a bit of a flare up. That's okay. It's going to be a test. You're going to want to panic. Just be like, okay, Charlie warned me of this.
Yeah.
That this might happen. And that's okay. And then we can get back on track.
Okay.
Cool.
Yep.
Is that good?
Yeah.
All right. So there you have it. Call with David. Bunch of different nuggets as it relates to all kinds of good stuff in there. So hopefully you pulled out what you needed from that call. Again, if you were stuck in pain, if you were stuck in just this place of, man, I feel like I go 2 steps forward, 5 steps back, or 1 step forward and 2 steps back, whatever it is, then know that there is a path to resolution. There is a path to relief. Now, it's got to be a systematic path. You can't just randomly do stuff and expect to get better. But that being said, again, David's been in pain for quite some time, had tried almost everything, and if you're willing to think outside the box, then that's probably where your answer lies, all right? But you've got to be willing. I know you're able, but you've got to be willing. Let me know your thoughts below in the comments. Was this helpful? What questions do you have? And we'll go from there. Thanks.